Can't hear you. Fornication. Excuse me. For an occasion like this, I'd like to thank you all for attending.
Now I get it. Now I get it.
Is that good? Let me start over. It's not every day I find myself in front of a room like this with a microphone in my hand, especially when there's not Pearl Jam playing on a karaoke machine. And I kind of enjoy it, so I'll be up here for a while. So get comfortable, get yourself a drink. If you want a minute, I'll wait. Okay, good. Before I get too deep in my speech, I want to thank some people who, without them, this day would not be possible. First, I want to thank Kasia's mom, Bożena Żukowska. Round of applause, everybody. And I'd like to thank Greg's parents, who are also my parents, Gregory and Lillian Chegowitz. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Bob Chegowitz. I'm Greg's little brother. For those of you who do know me, I apologize. And I'm here before you because after 30 years, Greg has finally admitted that I am the best man. But enough about me. We're here today to talk about Greg and the love of his life, the New York Yankees. So keeping up with my best man duties, it is my duty to make the next few minutes the most uncomfortable few minutes of Greg's life. Kasia, don't worry. The most uncomfortable few minutes of your life are going to be later tonight in the hotel. Thanks for Greg. So before I get too deep into Greg, Kasia, I got to say, you definitely look beautiful. You're a beautiful bride. And round of applause for a beautiful bride. And because you're so beautiful, you definitely deserve a great husband. So Greg, you're lucky you got her before she found one. So, thank you, Matthew. All right. I'm paying him in Cheerios. So, being Greg's little brother, you would think it'd be tough for us to get along, considering Greg is so old, and I am so young and so handsome. Why are you laughing? But we found ways to get along, unbeknownst to our being siblings. You know, Greg and I are only 2 years, 3 months apart. How many days? I'm not sure. 2 years, 3 months apart. And growing up, we were always the same size, same height, same weight. And people always mistook us. They didn't know who was older. And it always bothered Greg. Greg's the older one, so I remember somebody said, who's older? He got upset. But here we are now, Greg. I got gray hair, I got a beer gut, I got a kid. I think you win this one, right?
I got a beer gut too.
All right, so we're almost even. But growing up, we had a lot of fun because we played a lot of games, a lot of sports. We're very competitive against each other. The problem was a lot of the games we played were games that Greg made up that he forced me to play. One of the games was called, hey Bob, stand over there, I'm going to try to spit on you. Another game was, Bob, guess what I had for lunch? And it involved Greg eating something, digesting, and then farting in my face. I got pretty good at guessing that. So for those of you who know Greg well, actually, I need to stop for a second because there's probably a lot of people here who didn't even realize until today that Greg's name is Greg. Because Greg goes by a lot of nicknames. Some of them he gave to himself, surprisingly. Some of them he got from others. You got Chuckles, Zegush, Prego, Chachka, Freehold, Greg Nice.
Baxter!
Baxter! All right. I had to say that at one point, so thank you, Ryan. So, what was I going to say? Before I got sidetracked by Greg's nicknames, what I was going to say was, for those of you who know Greg or don't know Greg, I'm going to tell you that when you hang out with Greg, you're going to realize a couple things. Greg's a funny guy, there's never a dull moment, and you never know what's going to happen next. And also, another thing about Greg is brutally honest. He'll tell you everything about himself, usually over an email or an instant message. And there's probably a lot of people in this room who know all too well about a lot of Greg's bodily functions. Am I right? No? Okay, good. So, and when I said Greg was funny, I didn't mean Greg tells funny jokes, because he doesn't. It's not funny at all in that respect. I mean, he's funny like he does funny stuff, but not always on purpose. Like, it's funny watching Greg try to do something simple, like macaroni and cheese. Not knowing you're supposed to drain the water first. It's funny watching Greg drive down the parkway in his car when it catches fire because he didn't know he was supposed to change the oil. It's funny watching Greg at a party that we had at my parents' house when they were out of the Polanca and we had a New Year's Eve party. And Greg had too much to drink and he was so serious that he picked up a bottle of Drakkar Noir and had a big swig of it.
Happens.
It happens. It's funny watching Greg whenever a fight breaks out of the bar, he's the first one to get punched. Every single time. It's like there's a magnet in his cheek or something. It's funny watching Greg in a room full of people and he just yells out, "Fire!" A lot of funny stuff. So I didn't say all that stuff to make fun of you, Greg. I said all that stuff because, like all of us in this room, we're all human beings and we've all made questionable decisions in life. But Greg, you're here today, you're successful, you're happy obviously, right? You're happy?
Yes.
Yes? Great. You're very successful in your professional life. You work harder than most Jamaicans I know. I actually know a lot of Jamaicans. It's very surprising. But in writing this speech, I went back all the way to when I was a little kid. Remember all those times you spit on me, you stuck your finger in my nose, told me what the smell was. All the way up through my teenage years, all the way up till now. And I came to the realization, it was actually a very therapeutic exercise. A lot of the stuff I blocked out came back to the top. But it was good. Brought me here today. And I gotta say, I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of you, my brother. And I think you've obviously made a great decision here that nobody can argue with. And I welcome you to the family festival. And if I was any less awesome, I'd cry now, but I'm not. So instead, I will toast you. I'd like everybody to grab their champagne, please. And I'd like to say, may all of your tears be tears of joy, and may all of your pain be champagne. Let's go here. Cheers, everybody.
11 seconds.